Good morning. Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. Today is Friday, February 24th, and I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. We're so happy you could join us today. We're going to get to your top stories in just a moment.
But first, let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of that forecast. And don't put the winter stuff away just yet, right, Mike?
Not yet. Yeah, it's chilly outside this morning. Yes. Happy Friday to you guys. We started off very cold and windy. You will feel that wind today, gusting at times up to 30 miles per hour. That will make it feel quite uncomfortable, especially through the end of the day. But that's what February is supposed to feel like, at least the February of years past. Notice that while we started the day, or the week rather, very mild, temperatures took a tumble throughout the last few days. And now to today, we will start off the morning hours in the 30s, climb only to the 40s, but it'll feel like the 30s most of the day. And then temperatures tank later on tonight, getting down into the 20s, a very cold start to our weekend. Your forecast on this Friday afternoon, highs only climbing to 37 in Sussex. It'll feel like the 20s for you with that wind most of the day. You can knock off about 10 degrees from these actual air temperatures to get the feels like temperatures. So the 46 in Newark feels like it's just above freezing, even down toward Atlantic City and Cape May, the 30s for you. So some pretty cold weather today, but at least it's sunny throughout most of the morning. Some clouds return this afternoon. We've got more details on the little bit of snow that could grace its presence across New Jersey by tomorrow afternoon. Those details coming up with your next weather update in a few minutes.
We can't escape. Like, didn't want to show up, but it doesn't want to let go.
But just a little bit.
Right, here it is.
A little taste.
And another thing.
It's like an hors d'oeuvre. Yeah.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much.
All right, let's get a check of your traffic now with Don Smith.
Yeah, good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Mike. Yeah, it is definitely a little windy, so two hands on the wheel, especially on our bridges and overpasses, especially the Pulaski Skyway is always kind of a wild ride. Let's get you over to the maps, shall we? We do have some big issues for our good friends here in Union County and Mountainside. It's eastbound Route 22 still remains closed, and this is just east of Mountain Avenue. If you're familiar with this section of Union County, you will know where Echo Lake Park is, and that's where all the traffic is being diverted over to is going to be Park Drive. So it's just east here out by the Spanish Tavern this morning. That is where it shut down. A big crash, a fuel spill. It's been out there probably going on almost a 2-hour plus mark. And westbound also has a lane down. So let's show you the delays. First, we talked to you about going through Park Drive. Again, friends, this is just a single lane getting through Echo Lake Park, getting all the way out to Springfield Avenue. Also, the other outlier is going to be Mountain Avenue. Now, some folks are avoiding this, but then realizing, hey, you got to go through the park anyway. New Providence Road is getting hit hard here, both directions from 22 over to Mountain Avenue and Woodland Avenue. Now, earlier this morning, we saw a lot of traffic coming through Woodland Avenue. This is coming through the Winchwood section of Westfield. This is just a residential area, so please do not be in any kind of a hurry through here. Just be careful. Again, it's a very residential area. Everyone's trying to make their way to Broad Street. And you can see passing Fairview Cemetery, getting all the way out to Springfield Avenue is just a long line of parked cars, basically, going nowhere. Now we go to Route 22. Our delays are just into the Glenside Avenue area. Let's go to that camera here at Glenside Road Avenue. Barely see it. It's way off in the distance here. That's just about where the delay starts. This is where the old Bowcraft used to be here in Scotch Plains. They're right almost at the Scotch Plains border of Scotch Plains and Mountainside. So this here on 22 going east is probably going to take you about another 30 plus minutes. And then you have to go through that detour through the park. So if you are watching us in eastern Somerset County, Watchung, or even in Plainfield, I would suggest going with 78 is really the best option. Or if you're down in this section, Plainfield, Scotch Plains, you could certainly stay with North or South Avenues coming into Scotch Plains, Westfield, eventually Garwood, Cranford, and getting back out to the Parkway. So we'll keep an eye on that for the next hour. Also seeing some delays north on the Parkway through the construction. As we widen up things, you know, friends, there's a lot of the school systems that are on their winter break this week. So we are seeing much lighter than normal volume. And as we take a look at 80, 280, 17, 287, Route 4, everything is in good shape. Let's go to the Hudson River crossings. Again, not too many times you can say here at a little after 9 o'clock that the Hudson River crossings are under 10 minutes. New Jersey Transit's on or close to schedule. That's what's happening here in the traffic center. Our next report, we'll take a look at Central Jersey coming up in just a few minutes. Cara, Kristina, I'll send it back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Don. Well, to your top stories now. Two brothers are facing charges after allegedly stabbing a man to death last week at the Mercer County High School basketball tournament in Trenton. 25-year-old Kareem Finney and 20-year-old Khalil Finney are charged with first-degree murder and third-degree weapons possession. In a statement, the Trenton City Council says they're now looking into how the knife was actually allowed inside of the arena past all the metal detectors and all of the security. So,
Ceramic knife.
it was, at a high school basketball game. A high school basketball game. And this is what happened.
Yeah, it's.
Allegedly over a relationship issue
I
with a
get
girl.
it. Like,
Yeah.
when you think shooting someone, the physical distance of something like that, you can kind of see where in your
Right.
mind you can separate yourself a little bit. But like to stab someone to death is
In front of,
in front of a crowd. I mean,
Right.
that's
High
why
schoolers.
high schoolers. High
you know.
schoolers.
I mean, these guys were young themselves.
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, no. It
So,
just doesn't.
It's sad.
It's sad all around. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another crazy story that was caught on camera. A woman escapes from the man she says held her prisoner for a year. On New Jersey's Monica Guy has the dramatic security camera video and tells us why police say he may have committed crimes in other states.
That video tells the story of a desperate woman and a gas station worker who's being hailed a hero. But that's not all there is to this increasingly complicated story. New Jersey State Police are now combing over this video, piecing together a timeline after the unnamed woman escaped and ran to the Point gas station in Bass River, begging for help, allegedly trying to get away from the man with the bald head and blue shirt. He is 57-year-old James Perillo Jr., whom the victim says she knew by the alias Brett Parker. You can see him follow her and then walk away. The security cameras inside the gas station convenience store show her enter with a worker following closely behind. The victim locks the door and then walks out of view. Then another gas station worker, Bobby Madan, rushes to the door, making sure it's locked before going into a back room where he called 911 as the victim sat in a chair, shaking. The suspect later returning to the gas station on a bicycle. He was arrested a short time later. The woman telling police she met Perillo and they began a consensual relationship and traveled to California. About a month later, she says he became abusive and refused to let her go. New Jersey State Attorney General Matt Plotkin said in a statement that this woman may be just the latest in a string of victims, and Perillo is now being investigated as a potential serial kidnapper who preyed on women backpacking along the West Coast. YouTuber Sarah Doomer posted this video in 2019, warning fellow hikers about Perillo, who at the time used several aliases.
I was meeting other hikers and I met this man who was going by the trail name of Medic. And sometimes you get a bad feeling in your gut. I instantly got a rotten vibe from this guy.
That guy was later accused of killing a fellow female backpacker.
This man is a predator, he's a monster, and people are afraid.
Those kidnapping allegations were eventually dismissed by the courts. In the past, Perillo served time in prison for a bizarre string of crimes, including holding a yacht full of people hostage at gunpoint. New Jersey State Attorney General is reaching out to other jurisdictions, he says, in the event that Perillo could be involved in crimes in other states. And in the meantime, he's being held at the Burlington County Jail awaiting trial. I'm Monica Guy for On New Jersey.
Thanks, Monica.
Well, lawmakers in Trenton are gearing up for Governor Murphy's budget address next Tuesday, and longtime lobbyist Dale Florio says one of the factors expected to play into this year's budget, of course, is the legislative elections coming up this November.
Because it is an election year, not a governor's race, certainly, but for the all 120 members of the legislature up, I think there's going to be a lot of caution. We're seeing it in the scheduling of bills. I wouldn't necessarily call them that controversial. If anything, they're kind of pro-consumer oriented type legislation. So I think you're going to see the same thing in the budget.
Florio says there could also be targeted tax cuts in the budget as well. So we'll see.
Good to say, we hope.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Advocates are pushing for state lawmakers to expand voting rights and protections by passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Supporters of the bill held a rally outside the State House in Trenton on Tuesday, which would have been Lewis's 83rd birthday. If passed, the bill would allow the Civil Rights Division to undertake reforms by overseeing elections and possibly redrawing voting districts. And this is, it's so critical that a democracy is literally built on the people's right and ability to go vote.
Right.
And that has to be for everyone. And so that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
And it's amazing that it's taken this long.
Yeah, and that we have to go. It's like it almost feels like we have to go back and do it again. But anything and everything is worth reviewing and updating. But it's like, okay, like why do we have to kind of feel like we're starting over here?
New, yeah. Here's some great news here. PSE&G released its latest earnings report showing a net income of over $1 billion. And the announcement comes as gas bills will be reduced by 3 cents per therm as of next month, once again. So this is the second month in a row. As part of the report, the utility also highlighted a $3 billion investment in clean energy programs, where they'll invest up to $18 billion over the next 4 years. I think people hear the headline, reduced rates for March. That's the headline here.
That's another. Yes, considering how warm this winter has been and what my gas bill has cost, it's was yours out of? You don't have PSE&G where you are.
We have both PSE&G and JCP&L. It's split. Oh. So I think PSE&G is our gas.
I mean,
or maybe it's vice versa. I can't remember. Quite honestly.
You would know because your heating bill would have seeing stars.
It was large, but usually in the summer it's worse because of the air conditioning. We try to lower that.
Yeah, no, this PSE&G with the gas. And while it's nice to see that they're going to be investing, the whole reason that those rates went up 25% in the first place is they were screaming that that's what it was costing them to deliver the gas. So if it's not costing you that anymore, and now you have this money for investment, I don't want to hear 3%, I want to hear 20%.
Bring it down.
Bring it back down to where it was.
Yeah, so I mean, kudos for them, again, going solar and doing more clean energy and that kind of thing, but it's got to come back down.
Yeah, in the meantime.
Yeah, insane bills. With Governor Murphy announcing his plan to get New Jersey on 100% renewable energy by the year 2035, how exactly are those goals going to be accomplished?
And joining us now to help provide some insight is Dr. Rachel Schwam, the director of Rutgers Energy Institute. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So take us back a little bit. What does this renewable energy goal mean for New Jersey?
Well, what Governor Murphy announced last week was 100% clean energy goal. And he moved this deadline from 2050 to 2035. And that means that in 2035, 100% of the electricity sold in the state of New Jersey will be from clean sources. And so for this administration, that means carbon-free, meaning solar, wind, and nuclear energy. So this means New Jersey's taking the lead on the clean energy economy. It will be delivering reduced harms to communities that have been suffering from fossil fuel pollution and impacts, while hopefully creating jobs in the clean energy economy.
Yeah.
So then how close is New Jersey to achieving this goal?
Well, New Jersey is out of the starting gate, but certainly ways from the finish line here. And so in good news, New Jersey closed its last 2 coal energy plants in 2022. And about 8% of New Jersey's clean energy comes from renewables right now in the form of solar. About 44% comes through nuclear, which is carbon-free energy that is anticipated to continue. And so the real challenge is to reach the rest of the 46% of energy that is coming from natural gas combustion plants. And of course, Governor Murphy is trying to reach this through continuing growth in the solar industry and, of course, our offshore wind industry.
Yeah, he also mentioned, too, about cars. He wants all cars sold in New Jersey to be EV by that year as well. I mean, it doesn't sort of seem like a lot of time to get all of this done. What are the biggest challenges to make this happen by then?
Yeah, it's certainly an aggressive goal, and there's a lot of challenges. And Governor Murphy mentioned the fact that the state legislature has to come on board with this and be making the policy that's going to support the goals there. And really, so he talked about having Bob Smith, who's the chair of the Committee on Energy and Environment, on board. And, in order for that legislature to move forward, it really needs to continue meeting, kind of getting public support and public opinion that will keep voting for these folks who are going to advance this agenda. And so some of the challenges are high costs of getting this offshore wind in place. There was just a developer in Massachusetts who came out and asked for a pause in the contract because of increases in inflation and supply chain shortages that increased, the energy prices of getting offshore wind in place. There's also, we want to make sure those costs aren't carried by the consumers, as you just talked about, the natural gas prices being higher,
right,
and hopefully coming down. So those are some of the challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Doctor, in your opinion, are these the best ways to create change? Or are there other things that both the state and residents could do? So either is there things that folks can kind of do now within their own homes? And are there other issues that the state should look at in terms of reducing greenhouse gases on the whole?
Well, the state should, as far as individuals taking action and looking in their own homes, Governor Murphy talked about the electrification. He assured people that they weren't going to come in people's homes and start making regulations demanding that they make certain changes, but I think are trying to set up incentives to help homeowners shift away from natural gas, electrify their heat through heat pumps. And these changes can be made by consumers, and hopefully the state is going to be coming through with some funding to help offset those costs. And as he said, get money back into consumers' pockets when they make those investments. Additionally, the state's going to have to deal with kind of not only decarbonizing the grid and getting that clean energy there, but as you electrify your cars, making sure that the grid is reliable enough and enough energy is coming onto the electric grid to be able to support all those cars. And so those are certainly some things they'll be addressing.
And affordability too. I mean, right now, I think so many of us would definitely consider buying an EV. We've talked about this before, but the cost of, just
that
getting
initial
it
purchase,
is just outrageous. And I feel like that would be the first step too, is kind of making it affordable for every New Jerseyan to be able to take one home. So Dr. Schwam, thank you so much for coming on the show, shedding some light on this. And we'll see if we make it by 2035, if we'll make that deadline. It'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again. Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. And I just, and again, we've had this conversation many times. I think there's a lot that can be looked at, especially in New Jersey, because we are the garden state. I still go back to farming, soil, eating. I think that's the other big one that you could really, revamp it top to bottom, and it would have a huge change.
They're probably going to take a look at that as well if they're looking at the overall way of being able to make that deadline, which is right around the corner when you think about it.
Yes, it is.
That's a very hefty goal, and for the right reasons, and hopefully we do make it close to it. Maybe not 100%, but maybe 95% at least. Yeah, something in the range.
If anybody can do it, it's going to be New Jersey.
Yeah,
that's for
sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Coming up, why some state lawmakers want to fine social media companies if they don't make some changes.
Yeah, plus we'll show you how a couple was allegedly smuggling thousands in cosmetics out of stores.
And you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's head back to meteorologist Mike Favetta for another check of the forecast. Of course, the one day this weekend you got plans, it's going to be freezing.
Yeah, the one day, I know. But the sun comes back on Sunday, right? So
All
there's
right.
some better news there. And there is a little bit of snow in the forecast, too. Something that might be surprising, considering how this winter's been
At this
going.
point, yes.
Anything's
Wow.
possible.
Actual snow in the wintertime. But here's the forecast. Going into tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, we could see some flakes falling in northern New Jersey. At least that's what some of the forecast models are putting. So here, toward northern New Jersey, that shade of white shows the snow entering the northern part of the state, working its way eastward. And as it works eastward, likely see a little bit of that snow come down as some light flurries. Will it be akin accumulating snow? It's highly unlikely, given how most of this is in the northern part of the state. And then by early afternoon, you see it basically departs. I mean, this is maybe a 3-hour event of a light round of that light snow. If you find yourself north of, say, Route 78, even north of 195, I don't think you'll see any accumulation with this, just given how light the snowfall will be. But could cause a pretty scene nevertheless going into the early part of our Saturday afternoon. Our forecast over the next few days shows another milder trend. While it is chilly still tomorrow on Saturday, as that light snow comes down, maybe leaves an icy, crusty coating on the car tops, but should not stick to the main roads. We're looking at a warm-up by Sunday afternoon with highs that climb back into the upper 40s. Sunshine will be out and about through the second half of the weekend. We'll be able to enjoy that. And then by Monday, I think there's another shot of some snow and rain mix. And that'll be more interesting because it leads into Tuesday's forecast, which could see some cooler weather at night. And maybe a little bit more of that icy, sleety, snowy mix, similar to what happened on Wednesday. So some pretty active weather here shaping up across the next few days across New Jersey. And that may be the trend, a more active pattern going into the end of the month of February. After all, it doesn't get more active than an EF2 tornado that touched down on Tuesday in Mercer County. So it's been pretty wild here over the last few days. And this may be a trend setting into a more active finish to winter. So time will tell, but we'll have the 7-day forecast coming up for you.
So what you're saying is buckle up because we're just getting started. All right, Mike, thanks so much.
All right, guys, let's check in with Don Smith, see how the commute's shaping up.
Thank you, Cara. Good morning, Kristina, and good morning, Mike. Let's get you back over to the maps. Our big issue is here in Mountainside in Union County. It's the eastbound side of Route 22. That continues to remain closed just east of Mountain Avenue. Now, if you are familiar with this section of Union County and Mountainside, it's where it's closed is actually the entrance to Park Drive, which takes you through Echo Lake Park, one of the Union County parks in Union County. So this has just been a parking lot for the last 2 hours plus because the accident with a fuel spill. There's a couple things going on here. So the first is there's an accident with a fuel spill here about 2+ hours ago. That still remains under investigation, and the cleanup still continues eastbound on Route 22. Westbound also has a lane that's going to be out of service as well, almost out by the Ararang Hibachi Steakhouse and by the Spanish Tavern. Again, if you're familiar with this section of Mountainside. So the detour is here at Park Drive. The other big outlier is this whole section right here is all under construction, and they're repairing this bridge that goes over this little tributary creek here that brings you back into Echo Lake. So this is all under some heavy construction. There's lane shifting going on. There's a lot going on there. So I think that's also part of the compounding of the issues as well. with our delays. So the delay gets all the way back to just east of Glenside Avenue here in Scotch Plains, just east of where the old Bowcraft was there. Again, if you're familiar with this part of the state. So the optimum way really is to take 78, just take it right through the Watchung Reservation and then bring yourself all the way back to the Garden State Parkway. Or if you're watching us further south, say in Plainfield, Watchung, Warren, Greenbrook, Dunellen, Scotch Plains, you could stay with North or South Avenues as well. Could be a pretty decent option. But again, there's a lot of traffic lights, can take quite a bit of time. Garden State Parkway here in Central Jersey, as I promised you a look of Central Jersey in this next report, looks pretty good on 287, 22, 287, 78, 22 through Lebanon, all the way out through Clinton into Bloomsbury, all the way out towards Warren, Washington Township, I should say, 31, 46, 80, all the way out to the Delaware Water Gap. That is clear. The one spot I want to show you is this road work here along Route 18. Well, actually, they're saying it's an accident, but I think there's road work as well getting up to the John Lynch Bridge. So let's bring in the Route 18 cameras, and we will bring that to the conversation. Let me just find Route 18. There it is. This is going to be out by River Road, although I don't think this camera is going to show us much. No, that's heading south. It's here at 27, and it's in slow motion, the camera, but that's just the camera. But it is just past that. That is where we're dealing with that road work, and now potentially a report of an accident being reported by a driver. But the turnpike looks pretty quiet. So does Route 9, Parkway 35, Route 1. And again, friends, the volume is down because a lot of schools here are on their winter break. As evidence of our Hudson River crossings, we're all under 10 minutes. New Jersey Transit has been hanging strong all morning long, and that continues to be that way here, getting closer to 9:30. What's happening in the traffic center? Our next report, we'll take a look at South Jersey and the shorter communities. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Cara, Kristina, I'll send it back to you.
So the Attorney General's office is distributing drug disposal bags to 80 care facilities around the state. Now, the goal of the program is to ensure leftover opioids are not being misused. The initiative is being funded by the Federal Department of Human Services and is part of a larger push to help address the opioid addiction issue and, of course, misuse. I think it's a good idea. I think any little bit helps at this point.
Yeah, basically. And I think they just, there's so many programs out there to kind of, prevent them from falling into the wrong hands or being abused or and whatnot. And it's just, we unfortunately use a lot of it in this country in the first place.
Yeah,
and
that's the issue as well.
That might be, we might want to start at the beginning, but well, every little, like you said, every little bit helps.
Yeah, exactly.
The state lawmakers want to fine social media companies that use habit-forming algorithms to hook children onto their platforms. And if this passes, social media companies would have to pay up to $250,000 in fines if they don't remove addictive features from their apps. The bill was introduced by Assemblyman Herb Conway Jr., who in January also introduced legislation to study the effects of social media on teenagers. That is, I'm all for it.
Right.
It's critical. And I think, I think it's important not only for teenagers, but people in general. I mean, they've really done a lot of work to study the human psyche, to figure out what's going to get you to click back into the app, to go check again, to...
I'm trying to think of the movie that was on Netflix. It was a documentary.
Yes. The Social Experiment?
The Social Experiment. It was
Terrifying.
so terrifying to watch. I know it wasn't a horror film, but it turned into one.
Yeah.
And you realize, not even just for teenagers, just as us
people
as
in general,
consumers, how much of it is planned.
Yes.
And it is frightening to see how they're targeting. They have no qualms about who they're targeting.
No.
Doesn't matter the age.
And the things that it's impacting, and I think when we think about even politics and how divided the country is right now, and if you are mainly getting your information from social media, understand you're being fed something and targeted in such a way that you're being led to believe something. So that's not...
And it may just be from something you clicked on accidentally or purposely, and now that algorithm is saying, you want to hear more of that, whether it's real or fake.
Right. And it's going to find things that match that.
And it's going to feed it into you. And so the whole system is alarming and very frustrating. So it's not really surprising that, the Chatham School District is suing, and all the schools there are banding together to sue some of these companies. Now, whether or not they'll be successful, we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's a start.
It's a start. I would, I definitely support it. I'd like to see them Get rid of that.
It's
And-
terrifying.
And what you were just saying to me in the break, you were like, I just want to go back to like pretty pictures of food and puppies. Like
But that's literally, I mean, and now you look at Instagram and it's a whole entire business.
It's so curated.
And you know, and it's hard for somebody, a teenager or preteen, to consider that.
really get a grasp on
remember
reality.
that this
Really,
is
when everything's
marketing.
so, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I agree 100%. We'll see what happens.
See what they do with it.
This is interesting. A Newark couple was arrested in Pennsylvania for allegedly using a baby stroller to shoplift. Police say the suspects, Elkin Rivas Gallego and Angie Ramirez Linares, seen here in a surveillance photo, are accused of stealing up to $50,000 worth of merchandise from 10 other Ulta stores across New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. They say the couple is part of a larger shoplifting ring, but no further details have been made public as of yet. But you can kind of make out the stroller just behind her.
Bottom right,
You know, and it's sad because it kind of ruins the experience for everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, but a baby stroller. They come up with creative ways.
That they do.
Yeah.
That they do.
So,
very interesting. All right. Believe it or not, today marks 1 year since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began, and the Ukrainian American Cultural Center of New Jersey is helping to coordinate relief efforts.
Yeah, and joining us now is a member of their board of directors, Anya Turashovic-Tomko. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Anya, can you tell us, what has the last year been like for you, your organization, and the community on the whole?
It has been an unexpected experience, and I'll say it from two perspectives. I don't think a year ago, when the invasion first occurred, that we would have expected to see all the atrocities that have actually happened in Ukraine as a result of the invasion. I mean, this is nothing short of a genocide. Prior to the invasion, our community center, as well as many other Ukrainian American organizations in the U.S., had been supporting Ukraine for multiple years. As we know, the war started back in 2014 and has always been continuing in some form. But our efforts to provide support to Ukraine and now to those Ukrainians who have come to the U.S. have just expanded exponentially since the war. And it's gone from donations coming in from anywhere and everywhere that we're organizing into containers, loading onto planes, shipping to Ukraine, to finding organizations here in the U.S. who have quickly come to the aid of refugees that have recently come over, to help them establish, if not a permanent, then at least a temporary new life here as they wait for peace back at home. I just want to add that the other thing that was unexpected was just the extreme outpouring of support, not only from government officials, but from the everyday man here, non-Ukrainians, who I think from day one were just knocking on our door saying, how can I help? What can I do?
It's interesting, too. The president just visited on Monday the area, and, you know, to see that he kind of like snuck in on a train to take in what was going on a year later. I mean, what does that mean to you, seeing that kind of presence in the country and knowing that he's, you know, vowing more support financially?
It's incredible. Not only is it terrific for those of us here in the U.S. who are praying for the best for our country, but along with both President Biden's and Governor Murphy's recent trip, you have no idea what this means to the people of Ukraine in Ukraine. Most of us have extended family, large families in Ukraine, and for the longest time, going back to the age of the Soviet Union until then, they thought they were forgotten. The Iron Curtain was truly an Iron Curtain. Most people didn't know what was going on there in the former Soviet republics. So when they see the United States president or governors coming in, they know they're not alone. And it is an exhausting emotional and physical time they're going through right now. But knowing that the world is there, or most of the world is there supporting them, is the best feeling for them at this point. And we hear it from them directly.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to know, and you know, obviously, we want them to know that you know, they are being supported. Again, like you said, not only the Ukrainian community here, but just the community in New Jersey in general. What now can people do to help? I mean, again, we're a year into this thing. It does not look like it's going anywhere. How can the people in the community here help those in Ukraine?
Thank you. So a few ways. One, obviously, if you want to reach out to any of our Ukrainian organizations, whether it's to the UACCNJ, the organization I'm affiliated with, or any that may be closer to your community, fundraising activities are still ongoing, and they're very strong. And unfortunately, as you know, a lot of times the interest in a particular topic gets supplanted by other tragedies of the world. We know Ukraine is not the only crisis going on at this point. So honestly, I would say fundraising at this point, we are finding that it's easier to buy supplies both for non-military and for those taking active part in the war in Europe to be able to ship there. So fundraising is great, but also helping out with those refugees who have come here. Many are looking for sponsorship. Others are simply looking for jobs. Some are just looking for someone who can help tutor their child in English. So I would say the easiest thing would be is to just Google Ukrainian community centers or Ukrainian organizations in your area, reach out to them. I'm sure they'll have a long list of activities they'd love to have you volunteer for.
You mentioned having some fundraisers. Do you have any coming up?
Thank you for asking. We don't have any one in particular, to be honest. What we're focusing right now are commemoration events, not only in New Jersey, but also in Washington, D.C. But we have an ongoing fundraising campaign on our website. You can both donate funds, or you can actually go on and purchase directly from Amazon, so that you know exactly what your dollars are being used for, whether it's to purchase things for children who are now going back to the reclaimed territories in Ukraine, which are still under heavy fire artillery, but we're at least trying to make their lives feel a little bit more normal by providing them with some of the supplies they left behind when they originally left the area. So I would say just, as I said, go onto the sites and you'll see many opportunities.
Fabulous.
Anya, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for giving us some insight. And just once again, what's the best website that folks can log on to just to get information and start their search?
So thank you for asking. It's www.uaccnj.org. So it's Ukrainian American Cultural Center of New Jersey.org.
Amazing.
Very great. Anya, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can't believe it's been a year.
A year.
It's been insane. And we want to keep it, again, like she said, it's not the only crisis happening in the world, but you don't want it to become forgotten either.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when it first started in the first month, every channel
was
covering it. And then everything else just kind of started fading and fading. And it's like, no, this is still real. And this is happening every day. And it does need to be still in the forefront of our minds. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So good. They're still doing good work out there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, coming up later in the show, Atlantic City's St. Patrick's Day Parade is back. We'll have all the details coming up.
Also, we'll hear about the Morristown Pizzeria that won the Best Pizza in New Jersey award.
I love a good pizza. You can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has another check of the forecast for us, and I think there's snow, sleet, not hail, so I don't get it wrong from yesterday.
Yeah, rain.
There's some rain.
Maybe a little bit of sun.
Possibly some sunshine.
Snow
and I
boots.
think we have like a 20-degree swing in there somewhere.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ballpark
you
right?
kind of covered all the bases. Basically, the weather encyclopedia this week across New Jersey. It's been, we've had the book thrown at us, essentially. Given how much wacky weather just the last 5 days have seen here across the state. But I think we settle more into a winter type pattern with some snow falling from the sky. Who would have thought in the middle of February here across New Jersey, beginning late tomorrow morning. So that is really what's in play with the colder air that moves on through later on this evening. We see the temperatures fall overnight tonight, and tomorrow morning it will feel like the teens when you factor in the wind chill. Actual air temperatures will be in the 20s tomorrow morning, and then by the afternoon have some of that light flurry activity, maybe mixed with some rain. It could accumulate to a coating on the car tops, but I think it melts off quickly on the roadways, so no threat of any accumulation. And then by Sunday, we're back to the sunshine. But there are some more storms to talk about for next week. I would say threats, given that there's a more active pattern coming up, specifically going into the last week of February. So, the saying that March comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb. We like to say on this show the pazzo marzo, because there is more of a unsettled and more active pattern coming up in the next 10 days than considering how it's been for the last, few weeks here in the winter season. The forecast for the beginning of March shows that we could have average temperatures, meaning equal chances of above average or below average highs, but it's not that prolonged warmth that we've experienced, at least during the month of February. So that may point to some more interesting scenarios, especially going into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. The weekend outlook has more clouds throughout the northern part of the state, specifically tomorrow, throughout Morristown and Newark. And then as you head down south toward Belmar, Trenton, Camden, Atlantic City, all the high temperatures remain in the 30s. However, by Sunday, we warm quickly back up to 50 degrees in Camden. That 50 really sticks out. Even some upper 40s elsewhere across the state. So there is some milder weather coming by Sunday. Does it last? Well, it tries to, especially by Monday and Tuesday, with those highs holding in the upper 40s and low 50s, as some snow tries to sneak in with that rain by Monday night into Tuesday morning. Then Wednesday and Thursday has a couple days of calm before another system may come at us by the end of next week. But every time, this time of year, we see a weather system on the board, it tends to dissolve or just disappear as we approach the date. So we'll have to see if these weather models are really actually picking up on some of these systems and if they hold together as they approach. Otherwise, it's just right back to a disappointing winter for the ski lovers and the snow lovers that at least like to try and participate in wintertime activities.
Just one. All people just want one.
Just one.
Just one.
That's all I wanted.
Snowboarding.
All I
day.
wanted. All right. Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, Don Smith has another check of the traffic for us.
Yeah, thank you, Kristina and Cara. Good morning, Mike. Let's get you back to the maps here. Before I get to the promised South Jersey look of traffic, we go back into Mountainside because this situation is still ongoing. And according to the DOT, well, first let's set you up where we are. We are in Mountainside and Union County. This is eastbound Route 22 has been shut for the last couple of hours just east of Mountain Avenue, Park Drive, and this is out almost right in front of the Spanish Tavern. There was a accident and a fuel spill that's still with an ongoing cleanup here this morning on eastbound Route 22. The other outlier is that this is all under some heavy construction, so that's probably hampering potentially the cleanup as well. Now, again, depending on where this is, if it's the fuel spill, they may have to do, obviously it's a hazmat cleanup for the roadway, but there may be an environmental impact here to this little bit of a tributary, a small little river that brings you out to Echo Lake. So they may have to do some extra work if this was certainly on solid ground and not going over this small little tributary. So I have a feeling that could be, also part of the prolonged closure. But let's get you to the traffic end of things. You're being detoured off of Park Drive. This is bringing you straight through Echo Lake Park, which has been a parking lot literally for the last 3 hours or so as you progress all the way out to Springfield Avenue. Now, also Mill Lane is getting hit hard here to getting all the way out to just as you come up towards Bavella's here, up back into 22. A lot of folks are using that as the cut through to get back into 22. Again, this is a very, very local roadway here along Mill Lane. Maybe if you're familiar with the old Echo Lanes bowling alley, which is where the AMC Mountainside is now. This was kind of the back entrance to get into that facility. But again, it's local residential neighborhoods, so you have to drive slow. Our delay on 22 extends all the way back to just east of Glenside Avenue. It's beginning to thin out just a bit because we're getting into the mid-morning hours, but nonetheless, we're still seeing a ton of traffic out to Famous Dave's. The New Providence Road also getting hit hard. What also has been taking it here is on Broad Street, getting all the way to Springfield Avenue. So if you're watching us in Westfield, just plan an alternate route there. But the biggest outlier will be to stay with 78. It'll get you past this with no issues whatsoever. All right, so let's go down into South Jersey because we want to go to the list here because Route 9 both ways here to that is closed here in Upper Township out by Tuckahoe Road. That's where the water main, and now looks like they've closed 22 in both directions now. That just coming in as I clicked on the incident report, so keep that in mind. Also, emergency construction on 140 is closed both ways at 295 and Kearney's Point. And then there's pothole repairs on 22 out by 42 out by 55. And then the down utility pole here on 27 out by the Costco by Vineyard Road, I should say, in Edison to watch out for. As we widen up the maps, we'll bring you into South Jersey. We'll talk to you about what's going on here. 195, Parkway, Point Pleasant, Brick, Spring Lake, 35, 70. All is going to be in fantastic shape. Again, a lot of our schools here throughout the Garden State are on their winter break. So very, very quiet. 55, Atlantic City Expressway, Route 9, Parkway to Cape May is good. We'll give you the freshest numbers. The Hudson River crossings, and looking at under 10 minutes across the board. New Jersey Transit is on or close to schedule. And let me just bring in Path. We'll see if this will hopefully quickly reload here. But Path has been fairly consistent this morning with a pretty decent ride, and that changes here. Newark to World Trade again. Newark World Trade resuming normal service. Earlier mechanical issue at Journal Square. So there you have it. That's the freshest updates here this morning. We have one last and final update before we get to the weekend. We'll have that in a couple of minutes. Cara, Kristina, back to you.
Thanks so much, John.
The Atlantic City St. Patrick's Day Parade is making its return next month. The parade is returning for the first time in 4 years after it was initially called off due to safety concerns related to the boardwalk's weight limits. Atlantic City's mayor made the announcement on the boardwalk.
And this is a tradition that, when called upon, my administration said absolutely that we will give you the tools necessary to succeed in making this a reality.
The parade route will be shortened to 3 miles and will run from St. James Place to Albany Avenue. It'll be held before St. Patrick's Day on Saturday, March 12th.
It's funny because just a couple weeks ago, volunteers said, no, it's not happening. And now it is happening. And so, there was COVID concerns over the past few years. And then there was concerns over the weight limit of the boardwalk. And, so they were like, and then I guess they got it checked down and everything's going to be okay. I mean, it's nice to see that it's coming back. It's,
yes.
Part of tradition.
Absolutely.
To celebrate.
It's nice to, it really has been nice to start to see these sort of things come back and be able to participate. Yeah,
slowly but surely. Well, the Billy and Ashley Streeter Memorial Fund gives out scholarships every year in memory of 2 kids who were killed by a drunk driver in 2003. The organization, founded by family friend Gloria Dwyer, holds several events to raise money for the fund.
To date, we have given 121 scholarships because of Gloria setting up the Memorial Fund. Most of the proceeds now come from the 5K race that the JCs have in town.
Well, their parents, Bill and Deborah, continue to speak out to raise awareness of the dangers of drunk driving.
Good thing is out of tragedy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. So there's a new survey from Broke Scholar that says 3 New Jersey college towns are among the healthiest in America. The healthiest college town in the Garden State was Montclair, which came in 6th with high rankings in both physical and mental health. Camden, which is home to Rutgers Camden, was 11th, and Rutgers New Brunswick, also got high marks, with New Brunswick finishing 14th in the ranking. I think the Camden one is the one that actually kind of I'm a bit surprised at, but I happen to be a resident of Montclair. I mean, it's a very walkable town. It does strive to make clean energy, green spaces part of it. The college campus is beautiful. I'm an alum of Rutgers, New Brunswick. Again, same thing. I mean, the Rutgers, New Brunswick campus is so large, it actually constitutes its own police department outside of the New Brunswick Police Department.
System.
And its own busing system that actually travels more miles than NJ Transit annually.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, it's just, when the kids are all there, it's massive and it's a very cool space. And again, the university very progressive in wanting to, you know, make healthy green spaces available to folks.
I guess they didn't take into account the grease trucks in New Brunswick.
They got rid of those, unfortunately.
They have a storefront now, which was
Just
our
one of
go-to.
them. Just one.
I know.
It's so sad.
But we're talking about eating healthy, probably not.
I was going to say, I don't know that the grease trucks counted anyway.
Exactly. Well, speaking of food, Cornelio's Old Fashioned in Morristown was recently named the best pizza in New Jersey at the annual Pizza Bowl.
Joining us now to talk about it is their owner, Nino Cornelio. Good morning.
How are you? Good morning, ladies.
Hey, congratulations. What an honor here. What was that experience of winning this recognition like?
It was great. We just moved out to New Jersey, me and my family, from Brooklyn about 4 months ago to open up Cornelio's in Morristown. And the reception's been amazing. It was such a surprise so early on in the business to get invited to the Pizza Bowl, but we're really happy how everything went, and everything's been great.
That's incredible. Yeah. So what goes into competing at the Pizza Bowl?
So it's each region. You got South Jersey, Central Jersey, North Jersey, and Jersey Shore. Places get voted at jerseypizzajoints.com. And then, you go down, they have this amazing event in the Meadowlands. It's I think there was about 600 people there.
Wow.
And everybody votes on, who's the best pizza. So
yeah, I mean,
great.
It's grown every year, and it's also for a good cause too. We should say the Pizza Bowl, as part of the proceeds, go back to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. So and that's amazing as well. But tell us a little bit about your experience operating 6 other pizzerias in New York City and how it helped you start this one.
Yeah, so we started Williamsburg Pizza about 11 years ago, and me, my partner Aaron, and Johnny just grinded it out, built it up. Now we have like a great organization, and we have a great COO, and we're continuing to grow. We're opening up in Omaha, Nebraska soon. But Coniglio's is like, Coniglio's is like a passion project of mine. So it's a culinary playground over here. We do artisanal breads. We're planning on doing bagels soon. We have this amazing 70-year-old grandmother who I adopted as my own, who's doing Sunday dinners, grandma style. So people just come in and she makes whatever she wants, and they pay a ticketed price. So it's really an amazing, family place that I've always dreamed of opening.
That's great. Incredible. Hey, Nino, so what, I got to ask, what type of pizza do you have? Like a New York slice, a Neapolitan, artisanal? Like what kind of pizza do you make?
Yeah, so what we went for here is more of an old world New York style pizza. So think Totonno's, think Lombardi's, pre-slice oven. That's why we got the whole pie, no pie rule. So I grew up a chunk of my life in Gravesend, Brooklyn, where L&B started. So L&B kind of is the inventor of the Sicilian pizza, the upside down Sicilian pizza in 1946. So kind of like a pre-1950s pie is what we go for. Everything's got fresh mozzarella from Leone Cheese right in Union, New Jersey.
Yes.
I grew up around 15th Avenue in Brooklyn, so it's amazing to be back with them. We do Sicilian extra virgin olive oil, Parmesan Reggiano, Pecorino Romano, and then we do a lightly cooked sauce with a garlic confit.
Oh my goodness!
You had me
at tomatoes.
Yeah,
yes,
you had me at pizza.
Yeah,
I mean, really, it doesn't matter. You just give me any.
Wait, and I have one more food question. So, was it your classic pie that you won with, or what was the recipe that you won with?
Yeah, so we call it our Brooklyn round, and the pie that I just described, that's it. So we also use all Italian flour from Caputo flour, single zero Nubila super. Wild yeast starter culture. We do a Polish pre-ferment. So our dough gets a 12-hour warm ferment and then a 72-hour cold ferment before we even start making pizza with it.
And for anybody who doesn't know what he just said, it just means the dough is really good. So
and
you
really
should
fresh. Really fresh. Tell us where we can find more information on how to visit.
Yeah, so you guys can go to caniglios.com. Feel free to Google me if you want to learn more about me and the restaurant. And yeah, come stop by. Say hello to Grandma. My wife's usually here with our newborn baby.
Oh, congrats.
My cousins are here. Yeah, it's a cool thing.
It's a family affair.
Family
That's how it
business.
is.
That's how you do it. Nino, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
We got to stop by.
We got to get out
Food
there.
trip. We got to do a morning show.
We really do.
Just make the rounds.
Just make the rounds. It all sounds so good. It sounds amazing, though.
Awesome. Coming up next, I'll have the latest entertainment headlines with the Behr Buzz.
Plus another look at weather and traffic.
And don't forget, you can always catch us on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back. Mike Favetta has another look at the weekend forecast for us. It's basically just kind of like spin the wheel and see where it lands at this point.
I know, considering how wacky the weather has been this week, it's kind of like spin the pizza wheel and put little maybe stun icons on. You got to stop putting the food segments before weather.
I know.
I'm sitting here, stomach is grumbling.
I'm telling you, we just got to plan that Jersey foodie road trip.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
So good.
It's a really good idea. Hey, we've done it before. I could do weather from the green. You guys be inside of Camilleo's. Cara's making a pie.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I'm just eating.
It's fine. I'm down for all
I'll
this.
taste test. Sign me up.
Taste test, exactly.
Someone's gotta eat
Well,
it.
we've got some really great weather ahead this weekend for dining indoors. Not exactly the outdoor dining forecast just yet, although you'd never know it earlier this week when we had the 70-degree warmth across most of New Jersey. Now, back to a winter chill, and that will last through the upcoming weekend with today's temperature cooling off into the low 20s by tonight. It'll feel like the teens with the wind early tomorrow morning on your Saturday, and there will be some hefty clouds around, likely bringing in some rain and snow by the early afternoon. None of it sticks, maybe a little icy coating on the cars, but even that melts away because we're back in the 40s for Sunday with sunshine. Monday and Tuesday of next week see some unsettled weather. I think it's rain mixed with snow. Still can't get a good old-fashioned snowstorm around here, at least so far this winter, considering how mild it's been. But by Wednesday and Thursday, the sun returns, and we should look toward a more active weather pattern coming up, meaning that on the board for next Friday, Saturday, there is the potential of another snow and rain mix. So kind of going a little sneak peek beyond the 7-day. Could see something on the board about a week from now. We'll see. It's not something that I'm very I'd say confident in, given that we're a whole 7 days away, but this winter has been very surprising, even spinning up a tornado in the middle of the week. So let's take it one day at a time, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the cards that many people were betting on, was having a tornado in the middle of February. Yeah.
Right. Even the Storm Prediction Center, they nationally issue forecasts and alerts, days in advance. Kind of took them off guard too. They just had a marginal risk of maybe a thunderstorm, but nothing like that.
Turned into something way bigger. All right.
Those are the experts. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, and Don Smith has one more look at your morning commute.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Mike. Our last and final check. Let's go over towards the incident pages. It's been fairly tranquil around the state. Again, a lot of our friends are out on winter break here this week for the school systems. But on the incident list, we do have Route 22. That's going to be completely shut down in both directions out in mountainside, out by Mountain Avenue. We'll show you that on the maps in a moment, but that's been out there for a couple of hours. Also, this water main break on Route 9 both ways at Roosevelt Boulevard, Tuckahoe Road, and Upper Township. Everything is shut there, and we do have pothole repairs on 42 both ways out by Route 55 to 295, 27 south of out by Vineyard Road by the Costco there. A lane is down with a down utility pole, and emergency construction on 140 both ways at 295. That is still shut. We'll show you the delays here in Mountainside. Again, it was closed eastbound 22. Westbound was open, but I think they've just closed it now to facilitate this cleanup of a big crash along with a fuel spill. So this has been out there for about 3+ hours now or more. Could remain out there until the lunchtime hour or even a little bit later than that. So go with Route 78, but just be careful. The detour really is going through Echo Lake Park along Park Drive. Again, 78 is going to be the better way. Southbound of the Parkway, looks like we have something coming into exit 136. There may be some pothole repairs as well. It's a pretty rough road there in either direction through Clark and Cranford. They haven't repaved that section. Hopefully this spring they will. But the rest of the state, again, is fairly tranquil, very, very quiet conditions, even all the way up towards the northwest part of the state. Didn't want to leave you folks out. 23, 206, 284, 94. We are fine. We can see Hudson River crossings under 10 minutes. This is great. New Jersey Transit is on or close, and a path is now resuming service on Newark to World Trade again. That is Newark to World Trade here this morning. That's happening in another busy traffic center. A fantastic Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much, Don.
Time for the Bear Buzz, and Richie Sambora has revealed that he plans to reunite with Bon Jovi and make new music with the band. The 63-year-old guitarist appeared on Absolute Radio and said that he has discussed rejoining because he, quote, feels an obligation to his fans. However, he said he's unsure when they'll be back for more live shows because John Bon Jovi has been having a, quote, little break after being plagued by vocal issues. But he says, hey, listen, things are good between them. There's no beef, and they're ready to sort of get back together. So we'll see. This story I love. Montclair Movie Theater, the Claridge, is now holding BYOB matinees. Bring Your Own Baby. Film titles are announced a week in advance. Lights are dimmed but not turned off, and the volume level is moderated. You can move around as you need, and children under the age of 5 are free. The BYOB screenings are the last Wednesday of each month, and this is, of course, in response to Nettie's House of Spaghetti banning kids a week before under the age of 10 in their restaurants. So here's another establishment saying, hey, kids are not only welcome, but we're going to have a special matinee for you. Geared towards infants
the little ones.
Ones. I mean, personally, I don't know if I'd want to go to a movie theater with a little one, because how are you watching and enjoying? Because you're kind of, you're being a parent.
Yeah.
But, it's something if you feel like getting out and about and you want to, have some time.
And I feel like for, and I'm taking a guess, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like for most parents, it's like, the TV's on in the living room and
right.
Encanto is playing and they're kind of bouncing around off the walls. Right. So just to kind of change the four walls around them, but they're still kind of doing the same thing.
And I guess that's what this is geared to, right? You can get up and move around.
Right, you're allowed to move around.
Right.
There's some light. You can see what they're doing. Yeah, it's not blaring at them.
It's cool. I mean, it's a great concept.
It's really cute.
And again, it's sort of in response to that restaurant, saying no kids allowed. And, Applebee's, a couple of Applebee's in New Jersey were basically saying, hey, bring them kids come on in for free for a week, So I think it's an interesting take on the whole controversy.
Yes, it is. That is for sure. Well, thank you very much, my friend. That about does it for us today on the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. We'll see you back here next Thursday at 9 a.m.